Shalom and welcome to another episode of our series called Faith Journeys with God in the Land. Today we talk about an interesting story from 2 Samuel chapter 20 at a site called Abel Beit Ma'akah. Shalom and welcome to another episode here with an interesting story, no doubt, for you as we talk again about life lessons that we can learn from God's Word in the context of stories that took place in the land of Israel. So this story took place all the way up to the north, right there on the Lebanon border, and the site, at least how I'm pronouncing it, is called Abel Beit Ma'akah. And the site is literally half a mile or a mile away from the Lebanon border. I had a chance to dig there. I think it was in 2016, for a couple of weeks with Dr. Bob Mullins, great archaeologist, and just a nice all-around guy. Him and his team are doing really great work there. It's an ongoing site still this year, and it's located there. It's only mentioned actually a few times in the Bible, this site called Abel Beit Ma'akah. And this story in 2 Samuel 20 is what my dad used to call, it's a humdinger. You always wonder, a couple of these stories in the Bible, including this one, it sort of makes you scratch your head and go, ooh, I wonder why this is in the Bible. What's the point of it? Because it involves a guy named Sheba. You need to read it, by the way, 2 Samuel 20. He's revolting or rebelling against David, who's the king in Jerusalem. So this guy named Sheba comes all the way through the hill country of Ephraim. By the way, here's the map, Jerusalem. He comes all the way this way, north, all the way through the Jezreel Valley, the lower Galilee, and the upper Galilee up to this site called Abel Beit Ma'akah. And he's looking for not only safety or refuge, because, of course, now David knows and has charged a guy named Joab to go and search him down, hunt him down, and to deal with this clan of rebellious characters led by Sheba. But could it be, I'm going to get my book out here because I included this detail in the book as it mentions some archaeological discoveries that indeed I think play an important part in understanding the story. I'm just going to read some of these details so I don't miss anything and I state it accurately. From the Iron Age 1, in the Iron Age 2 periods, that's from 1200 to about 1000 BC, and then 1000 BC to 586 BC, a public complex used for cultic ritual purposes was uncovered. This included mesabot, or standing stones, basins, a cultic stand, and a stone offering table. Archaeologists also found a clay jar containing 425 astragali. This would be ankle bones of sheep, goat, and deer. Other astragali that have been found elsewhere throughout the ancient world may have been used as pieces for a game. However, some suggest that these may have also been used for divination. For instance, the casting of lots to forecast the future. According to scholars, when these bones are found together in a hoard, they are most likely used for divination, even though this hoard of astragali date from about a century after the 2 Samuel 20 story took place. We might conjecture that Abel Beit Ma'akah was a divination center for seeking wisdom and guidance. Keep this possibility in mind when we come to the story. So the story unfolds with Sheba now seeking out the wise woman at this site. Now this site, incidentally, has exchanged hands from the Israelites to the Arameans, probably, just like Tel Dan and maybe some of these other northern border sites. But here, the site was known as a place to go and either find refuge, in this case, find refuge from Joab and David, who were hunting this guy down, this guy who was rebelling against David. Or perhaps could we say with some certainty that Sheba was looking for the answers for the future. We do too. I mean, we in our faith journey with God, we sort of want to know what the future entails. And of course, as we'll talk about, this course means the step of not only faith, but also walking in wisdom. Wisdom. So this Sheba character was apparently looking for answers from a wise woman who lived here. So let me read some of the story here, because eventually Sheba, who is now in the city, the inside of this part of the city, and Joab wants to make a siege ramp. He wants to get to this guy named Sheba. In fact, we use this passage to literally look for fortified walls and the siege ramp. There's maybe good reason to ascertain where these structures may be in proximity to the site. But I think that what happened here is an interesting one, because as we read about this in the story, I'm picking it up in the end of chapter 20 in 2 Samuel, because Joab assures the woman, "Far be it from me that I should swallow up or destroy. It is not true. But a man of the hill country of Ephraim called Sheba, the son of Bichri, has lifted up his hand against David. Give him up only, and I will withdraw from the city." So the woman said to Joab, "Behold, his head shall be thrown to you over the wall." Then the woman went to all the people in her wisdom, and they cut off the head of Sheba, the son of Bichri, and threw it out to Joab. So he blew the shofar, the trumpet, and they dispersed from the city, every man to his home, and Joab returned to Jerusalem to the king. So the city was spared. Sheba's head was thrown over the wall. Could you imagine that? Down to Joab, and this satisfied Joab, of course. This guy who was rebelling against the kingdom was now no more. So Joab goes home back to Jerusalem, and the matter was settled in a very unique way. This is why I sort of scratch my head and go, why is this story in the Bible? Well, could it be that when we take a look at what this man was literally looking for, a wise decision about his future, maybe there is something for us to learn in this story. Now, I've entitled this chapter, Don't Lose Your Head. Don't lose your head. Sort of tongue-in-cheek, of course. That's exactly what happened to Sheba. But we should not lose our head, figuratively speaking, when we are walking in wisdom and trusting God. This is what I wrote. Again, let me put on my glasses here. In the area of connecting to our faith journey, there is a significant difference between seeking earthly wisdom and godly wisdom. Worldly, temporal wisdom does not take into account the ways and precepts of God. Godly eternal wisdom strives to apply knowledge to our faith in practical ways that honors God throughout the journey. Godly wisdom gives us direction and purpose when we are faced with tough decisions in life. It is one thing to choose between what looks good, what feels good, and what is actually good. Integrating godly wisdom in our walk of faith helps us discern between what is good and what is best, and what truly honors God. To gain God's wisdom, we must ask for it while studying and living out God's word. James chapter 1 verse 5 says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him." To grow in our walk of faith, we must search for wisdom that is rooted in the ways of God. The value of gaining wisdom cannot be overestimated. Blessed is the one who finds wisdom, and the one who gets understanding, for the gain from her is better than gain from silver, and her profit better than gold. Answers to life's big questions can be found only through the truth of the Bible as we trust and seek after God. When troubles and challenges come, seeking godly wisdom is the sure pathway that leads to life. Let's just say it is the best way to keep one's head on straight. Connecting in prayer. God, give me a heart that seeks and hungers after wisdom that comes only from you. When I am looking for answers in life, inspire me to run to you and your word. Help me to seek your ways in everything I do. These are a few words of encouragement and words of wisdom. The word hokmah, by the way, is the word in Hebrew, hokmah, and it's a very important word. And it is what should describe and should exemplify our walk of faith, our faith journey with God, when we walk in wisdom and seek what He knows best for us. When we sort of walk in the pathway of our own wisdom, sometimes we can lose our head, figuratively speaking, and lose really the opportunity to be blessed by God and the ways that He wants to lead us and the pathways that really honor Him. Now, Sheba, of course, in our story, and again, go back and read 2 Samuel 20 on your own, this guy was desperate. He was looking for wisdom, not only refuge, but wisdom from a wise woman, from divination, perhaps the process of searching out life answers to difficult times. And yet we are also to walk in wisdom, but we keep our head on straight when we keep our heart in tune with God's will in accomplishing what He has purposed us to do. So be encouraged, my friends, by walking in wisdom, hand in hand with God, and seeking His advice that we glean from His Word. This is what brings to us His blessing in our faith journey with Him. So be encouraged, and until next time, Shalom.